Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Falcon PUNCHCAST. As always, it is me, your host, Falcon Punch, Mr.FalconPunch, aka Shaheen. And as always, I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Hamza, aka Darth Messiah.
Hello, I am the Trunks to Shaheen's Goten.
All right, nice. We got that.
Yeah.
We got that shonen duo.
Yes. Took me a while. I was staring at Goku's face on the jump cover of the Dragon Ball manga, and I'm like, oh right, he has children that he does not take care of.
Yeah, no, that's something that not necessarily the parenting thing, but I'm like, he's a granddad.
Oh yeah, Gohan has children now.
Gilfs, you know?
Yeah. Never say that again. Oh God, Goku's a gilf. My God, no.
I mean, he is. Oh my God, that brings a new perspective because Goku's always the strongest anime character, but anime stereotype of the strong old guy. I'm like, Goku's actually achieved that too. He's also the strong old guy. He's a grandpa.
But he doesn't have the white hair, or he doesn't look.
It's that Saiyan DNA,
Oh yeah, the Saiyan DNA.
Also, it works with that other anime stereotype where it's like, I'm 1,000 years old, but they look like 10.
All right, guys. If there's anything you take away from this podcast in particular, is that Goku is a grandpa. That's the main thing we wanted you to know. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.
I mean, he is. Everyone knows this.
We don't talk about it.
I know we don't talk. We should. I think it's a really interesting thing where it's like, no, he's not just a dad. He's a grandpa.
Okay.
It's just fascinating. I don't know. Even though Daima is going to make him back into a kid again, which, for me, I'm winning because I love Kid Goku. But that's
a lot of people not happy with that.
Listen, I had some more Akira Toriyama designs before he passed away. Once again, rest in peace. Had that. Kid Goku, I really enjoy. Apparently, they're going to try to make it more of a adventure with some RPG elements. And as someone that also really likes Dragon Quest, I stay winning when it comes to Dragon Ball. So it's all good with me. Let's get on to the main topic for this podcast. And, generally when you watch anime YouTubers or manga YouTubers, you kind of want to get to know their taste and whatnot. So it's been 17 episodes. I feel like most people that watched me for a while kind of know my taste, but they probably don't know yours, Hamza.
Oh, okay.
They've only known you for the 16, 17 episodes we've done.
True.
Which, I mean, I think if you add up all the time, that's probably a day and a half.
Is it a day and a half? Really?
Probably,
done that much?
I think.
I thought we did 2 months worth of podcast at this point or something. I don't know. That's what it feels like we did.
There's a lot I have to edit out on my end. So you guys are not missing much. It's mostly just us being yeah. Editing the last podcast made me want to shoot myself because of that reason. Boy. I really feel like we got to do that hot sauce challenge where when anyone use or we got to chug hot sauce.
Oh, okay. So I've seen I know what that is. I've never watched one of those. So that's the rule. Okay. I thought you just have to just continuously eat while you're talking. Yeah.
No, it's just as soon as you say one of those words you want to train yourself to get rid of, you just see, there I go. I want to just drink some hot sauce right now. The thing is, both of us have a spice tolerance, so we would have to get something pretty spicy.
True. Yeah. But anyways, I'm glad to show what's the name of your fandom? The Punch Nation, I think the Punchers.
We went with Falcon Punchers.
Falcon Punchers. So I'm happy to show the Punchers my favorite list, but I gotta preface this. I don't really have favorites. I just made this list literally some of them are permanent and they will definitely be there no matter what. But some of them I had to add just because I had to show something. I really have a hard time picking favorites because I'm still I guess processing, and I feel like I haven't seen enough to truly give my a true top 10. But like, I'm happy to like at least show where I'm at right now as of like 2024. I'm sure by like if we ever do like I don't know, a year from now, like looking back, my lists would have changed. So yeah, just keep that in mind, folks. Yeah.
Right. I mean, to be fair, I didn't put you a bit on the spotlight with that.
Yeah.
Just because before this podcast started, I'm like, oh yeah, link me your Mal account, and I'll take a look at his profile and everything. And then I noticed he doesn't really have like a complete top 10 for anime, manga, or characters. And I'm like, oh, I thought he already had that, because that was going to be what we're going to go through today. We're just going to compare our my anime list, or at least our favorites. I don't want to go too in depth with like our completed and dropped and all that. That can take forever. Maybe that's like a live stream idea later down the line. But for now, we just want to focus on our favorites.
Yeah.
So during the pre-show, basically, Hamza was filling in his top 10. So probably not the most accurate take on his taste, but it's something.
Yeah, it's something. So like, just, again, take it with a grain of salt that I made this today. And also some of these like choices are really old, and I'll get into that later.
I felt kind of nostalgic when I looked at it originally. I'm like, oh wow, that takes me back to the time period.
Yeah, because like I got into anime when I was in 10th grade. And so like you can see that a lot of it was like, you can tell like what I was like exposed to first and what I added immediately. And stuff. So, and those are still there, and I still hold a lot of reverence for those shows. But again, it's like it was in the honeymoon phase of anime watching. I don't know if I rewatch them, if I will have the same. In fact, I guarantee I won't feel the same way as I do. But I haven't gotten into the process of rewatching them yet, because the anime industry keeps releasing new stuff. If only it could just stop, just stop and like literally
take it easy, go on a hiatus for you.
Yeah. I haven't made a dent. So Shaheen has like finished like 646 according to his Mal like shows. It could be more than that, I finished 200. Like that's all I've done. So I'm like still like there's a lot of shows I haven't seen. I haven't seen Angel Beats yet. I haven't finished Bottoms yet. As a mecha fan, that's like I feel like that's like something I need to finish. I haven't seen Macross yet. What else? I haven't seen Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Oh, I'm just naming mecha shows now. Okay.
Well, Legend of Galactic Heroes is more of like a space
opera, space opera, political opera. Yeah, but like I haven't seen Fooly Cooly. Like, there's still a lot of big bucket list anime that I still haven't consumed or haven't consumed in a while. Like Evangelion, I just watched. Like Evangelion, I just watched like this year, and I had to like rant to Shaheen about how much I didn't like it. I'm not getting my mixed feelings on it.
Conflicted,
conflicted feelings on it. Yeah. So like that's why it's like on my list is like kind of like head scratchy. Like, why is this there? And it's like also very obvious. Like you can tell like, oh, I know which era of fandom of anime you came into.
I guess with that, we'll just go with your top 10 anime.
This? Like one show each, or like a full list of mine, then full list of yours?
We'll do like a full list of your anime, then we'll go to my anime, and then we'll...
Got it. Okay. So number one, I mean, again, this is in no particular order. It's just like top 10 favorites. What's number one? What's number 10? I don't know. I'm just listing them off, okay? But number one, in no particular order, is Mirai Nikki, or Future Diary. So, I know. This is like a very controversial pick, because this is a very trashy show, and a lot of people hate this show as well. It's quite a bad show, and I don't necessarily blame them.
Well, I think as time went on, that opinion came out. But I remember when it was new, it was like the hottest thing that people wouldn't shut up about. So,
I mean, to be fair, Akame Ga Kill was also like the hottest thing when it came out, and like So yeah, again, I don't necessarily disagree with those opinions. Again, if I went back and watched this, my opinions would probably change. But dude, at the time when I was new to anime, when I was watching this, I was on the edge of my seat every episode. I could not like I had like when you are so obsessed with the show, when you go to sleep, you start dreaming about the show.
Oh, yeah, that was me with One Piece in the beginning. Yeah.
So yeah, I was like on the edge of my seat. I really, really badly needed to know what was happening. I had my first waifu ever, which was Yuno Gasai from this show. I was exposed to a lot of things. I didn't know what a yandere was. I didn't know what a battle royale show like was. and stuff. And it had an ending that I still to this day really appreciate, where it's like, at first, if it's an ending where it's like, if you look at it from the multiverse aspect, it's like it's either good or bad depending on how you want to do it. I know there's an OVA later that gives the proper like happy ending, but like the ending I saw was just the anime without the OVA. It was one of those like bittersweet endings. That's the word I was looking for, bittersweet, where it's like a version of the characters are happy, but there's another version of the characters that are sad, and it's like, oh, that like I never experienced that type of storytelling before. So this show was a lot of firsts. It's like you don't forget your firsts. So
Right.
that's why like Future Diary for me is one of my favorites. I know, really trashy show. A lot of bad things, a lot of stupid things happen in this show. I get it. I understand that. But like again, 13-year-old little Hamza, little Darth Messiah was like on the edge of his seat. I'm like, oh my god, this show is so awesome. It's gory.
For a 13-year-old, it would be the coolest thing ever. Did you ever read the manga, or you just watch the anime?
I only watch the anime. I do want to read the manga. It is on my manga reading list. I know Viz has like the license for it, so I do plan to read it. I will read it one day. But like again, like I just haven't had the time, and I'm also like a bit scared to like go back to my old stomping grounds of like what I revisit it. I'm like, because I have such a nice memory of it in my head. Going back, I'm like, I don't know. I could end up going back and hating it, and it's like, oh my god, Hamza, you were such a dumb, edgy teenage boy. Like, how could you? It'd be like cringy.
Yeah. Because I've only read the manga, so that's why I was curious.
Okay, interesting. I mean, it's a faithful adaptation, I'm assuming, right? Or do they change things?
I don't remember. I think the anime changed some things towards the end, or it wasn't a full adaptation or something like that. Because I remember that was the whole reason why I didn't go with the anime. I was going to watch the anime, but more so back then. For whatever reason, before I got into a series, I did like deep research. I would go into not deep research, but like I would look it up on Wikipedia, My Anime List, and then maybe look at a few scenes on YouTube before I made the judgment of me checking out the series. And through that like little bit of research, people were just saying, "Yeah, just go with the manga instead. Forget the anime." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that's why,
right? Yeah, so. That's why Mira and Iki Future Diary is on my list. Again, it could easily get off, but like right now it's still there, and it's been there since I made my Mal list. It's not moved. Next is Konosuba. I love this show. I love these characters. If you ever wanted a show that has that like D&D feel of like you and your dumb friends are on an adventure and you're constantly making mistakes and crazy shit is happening because you're in a magical world, Konosuba is the show for you. Really awesome characters. Another one of my waifus is in the show. You're seeing a theme here. I really do love the show. Season 3 has just come out. I am going to watch it. I'm going to binge it all together. I really did fall in love with this show. It's funny. It's like the only isekai that I like that like makes fun of isekai. But like, yeah, like it's such a good show. I mean, you've got like, Aqua being super just like, I mean, all of them are dumb, but like, I don't know, Aqua's like dumb to like a 10th degree. Then you've got, oh, forgot. Oh my god, her name. Explosion. What?
Megumin?
Megumin, that's, yeah. Megumin with her just obsession with explosions, and then Kazuma trying to keep everything together, but like, just can't. And then Darkness with her masochism, like, it's just like, it brings me back. I had 10 out of 10, like, a blast watching the show. I laughed my ass off. So yeah, it holds a special place in my heart. And now Shaheen unfortunately scared me a bit because he didn't like season 3, the first like whatever few episodes of it, and he's like questioning himself, like, have I moved on? I'm just wondering, like, well, if Shaheen's moved on, maybe I've moved on from the humor of the show. Although I still, when I look back at clips, I still laugh. But again, it could be because my nostalgia is playing tricks on me. But who knows? In a new season with new scenes, maybe I'm like, oh, it wasn't as funny as I thought it was. Yeah.
I need it now that it's wrapped up. I'll probably go back to finish it up. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace because I watched like the first 2 episodes, and there was some decent funny moments, but I wasn't really like that blown away by it. And then towards the middle of the second episode, Darkness is just screaming in the background constantly, and it was just getting on my nerves. And I just shut it off in the middle of the episode. I'm like, fuck this. And then I just watched the newest episode of One Piece instead.
Yeah, I've seen the spin-off of Megumi, the Megumi one. That was really good. You might like that, actually. I think did you see that?
I watched the first 3 episodes of it. I'm like, it's not as funny as the main show.
Yeah, it's not as funny. Yeah, but like it's because like Megumi's like a more quiet. Like out of all of the characters, she's the most quiet. She's not the most like crazy energy unless it comes to explosion. We got to wait for that, and like that's just like in the show. It's like her explaining how she got that explosion obsession. So yeah. It takes a while.
I think just because I like the chemistry of the characters for the first 2 seasons in the movie and all that. I think just having like one of the characters, I'm like, it's not the same. So
one of the characters isolated. That was another thing. It's like, you don't have the banter with. They were in the background though when you watch the later episodes, because like when her storyline starts intersecting with Kazuma and Aqua's storyline when they first get to that like level 1 village, you there in the background, and she was like like there when things were happening to them. So that was really interesting to see. So yeah, I do love this show. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a comedy show, especially if you're like that D&D like dumb adventure with friends feel. Konosuba is the show for you. This one, Kill la Kill. It was probably my first ever Trigger show. I can't remember if
everyone's. I think it's like the first Trigger show.
No, but for some people, like Gurren Lagann was their first, right?
So that was technically Gainax, but
they bought the rights back. It's Trigger.
Oh, we're rewriting history now, Hamza.
We're retconning history, exactly.
Gainax never existed.
Yeah. So yeah, like the animation blew my mind. The story blew my mind. It's one of those like shows that like really like visually just like it like hits you like a lot. It does like, and again, Studio Trigger obviously just like has a complete style and kinetic energy of its own, and like the story's pretty unique. The action's awesome. The characters are like larger than life, especially Mako with her like explanations,
right,
and stuff. And then like you got the weird lore with clothing and everything, and the metaphors behind that. Again, at the time, I was like, this is probably how weird anime can get. Boy, was I wrong. But it's one of those things about anime where it's like the unorthodox, different type of storytelling you get to experience. So like, yeah, that's why Kill la Kill is still there. Again, if I rewatch it, I don't know if it would still be on there, if I still feel the same, because I've experienced so much since then. And I've seen weirder, more like crazier shows since then that I don't know if I would still love it. But who knows? Maybe the execution was still spot on for
I've
Kill la Kill.
rewatched it a few times. Watched it originally as it was coming out weekly with a friend, and which was really exciting. I'm not sure if you watched it like as it was coming out or when it was all finished.
No, for me it was ended. I binged it all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I watched it weekly back when like the whole Trigger meme of like, Trigger saving anime, Kill la Kill save it, which I never really understood what that meant, but it was just a funny, stupid meme that didn't really make that much sense in hindsight. But a friend of mine, we watched it weekly on Facebook Messenger. We would constantly, every time an episode came out, be like, "Yo, did you see the new episode of Kill la Kill? Like, holy shit!" So that's always been ingrained to me as a good memory. But then I watched it like years later when I got a dub, which
I haven't seen the dub. I only saw sub. Yeah,
it's pretty solid. When I watched it again, I'm like, this is still a pretty good anime. I really did enjoy it. But even then, that was like 5-6 years ago. So it's still been a while, but I'm pretty sure I don't know, Hiroyuki Imaishi and the writer, I forgot his name, like I think Kazuki Nakashima. Like that duo for me is always a pretty good win-win situation, because that's Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Promare, I think Panty and Stalking, they work together. I know for sure it's an Imaishi series, but I'm not sure if Nakashima did the writing for it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, Little Look at Your Academia was kind of a letdown.
That wasn't that duo.
Yeah.
So that was something else.
That wasn't that duo. Yeah. So that's what I mean. I'm looking at the years, like Miraniki 2011, Konosuba 2016, Kill la Kill 2013. So like, yeah, it's like this is like end of high school, beginning of university, like era, which I got into like anime. That was like my golden years, my honeymoon years of anime.
That was just golden years in general. Looking back, man. Take me back.
Next, we have this will probably stay on for probably as long as I'm an anime fan. Black Lagoon,
a certified hood classic.
Dude, it's what's that meme again? what's the name? Gen motherfucking Ubushi? What's the name? I forgot.
Oh,
Can't even remember.
Urabuchi.
Yeah, Gen motherfucking Ubushi. Dude, I saw this as a dub. This is like probably the first dubs I ever saw. Bro, again, the action in this is amazing, the craziness, and like that I could relate to the main character so much, especially now as an adult. As a kid I could relate to him a bit. Now as an adult I can relate to him so much more, of just like abandoning your like 9 to 5 work job and just joining pirates. Just like, no, fuck it, I'm joining this like these band of criminals just to like live the the crazy life of a basically a pirate. And
Right.
then, my God, I mean, what's there to say about Black Lagoon? The action, the jokes, the crazy setting, Revy. Oh, Revy. Yeah, you're going through a list of my waifus as well at the same time, folks. Just,
Yeah, I've been noticing. Yeah.
I think, like, I cannot really say other than this show is a blast. If you're looking for just a fun, action-packed show that will, like, just make you laugh, I'll show you, like, amazing action, just be entertaining as hell. Black Lagoon is where it's at. Like, I can't really say much more than that. Like, it is just the action show.
Yeah, I think still to this day, when it comes to like, top action anime,
Yeah.
I still feel it's still in that conversation, even though it's been. Well, I don't want to say it's been such a long time because that always affects me deeply. Where I'm like, no, it's not that old.
2006. This is when it came out.
Well, I mean, I didn't even see it in 2006. I probably saw it like somewhere in the 2010.
Same. No, I saw it much later, but like, yeah, like this again blew my mind. Again, this is one of those that like I'm pretty confident, especially since my taste in action has grown since then. Like I constantly complain to Shaheen about action movies. Not complain, like criticize. I would say with a fine-tuned like knife of like this is how you're supposed to make an action movie. Like I have very high standards for action, and Black Lagoon met those. Like as an anime, like it met those. And so like yeah, like I really really do enjoy this show. Like I again highly recommend it. One of the best action shows you'll ever like watch.
Yeah, that one's definitely a classic. I've been meaning to, because it's still ongoing. I think I'm not sure. I know it goes in a lot of hiatuses, but the manga, because I am curious. It's like one of those series that just like had a really good reception and everything, just never continued on as an anime.
Yeah, it's one of this was like during the time of the curse of like, will it get a season 2? Will it get a season 3? Just lucky enough it got a season 2, and like if you want to get more, read the manga. I do want to read the manga for this because I just want more Black Lagoon, and stuff. And then also I haven't seen the OVA, the Maids, whatever it's called.
Really?
I've got the No, I haven't. The reason why is because I saw season 1, season 2 in dub. And the OVA, I don't know if it was just new at the time or whatever, but there was only sub available. I'm like, no, I need the dub. I experienced this in dub. Now, years later, I don't think there is a dub. I don't think there ever will be a dub, so I think you have to bite the bullet and just see it. Like,
I thought I saw the dub for it. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Maybe there is one now. I don't. But at the time, I remember looking for it, and I just could not find it. It was always coming up as a sub. So yeah. That's still, so there's a part of Black Lagoon I still haven't experienced it, and I can't wait to experience it again. Definitely something I will like revisit, rewatch, and read. Definitely. Next, we're gonna go a bit softer. I think we've gotten very much like dude bro edgy. No, we haven't. Dude bro edgy shows in one comedy. This is a romantic comedy, Golden Time. This is probably my favorite rom-com anime of all time. I love the characters. I love the love interest. I really like the story. It's in a unique setting in college, not high school, which you don't really see a lot in anime. I hope there's more like adult rom-coms since then. I haven't really kept up with the rom-com genre in anime since my like tweens. But yeah, like this is probably my favorite rom-com anime. I know people don't like the amnesia storyline. I don't like it either. Towards the end, it's kind of like, why did you do this? I guess for the sake of drama. But like it is one of my favorite. It's by the creator of Toradora. I don't like Toradora because like I don't like tsunderes. I'm allergic to them. So
tsundere intolerant.
Yeah, but in Golden Time, she's definitely like a dere girl. Like she's very very loving, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like couple goals. This is like waifu goals right here. So yeah, like Golden Time. If you're looking for a rom-com anime that's like more adult, like not taking place in high school, takes place in college, has a loving couple and loving love interest, like yeah, this is like a really good show.
I haven't seen that many rom-coms, and then I always get confused with this one because I feel like I always confuse it with some other anime, but the name's escaping me right now.
Golden Boy? Or
No, because I've seen Golden Boy, which those are two completely different series.
I'm like, what are the series that's golden in it? That's my.
I don't know, but I just never checked it out. I mean, when I was starting out with anime, I wanted nothing to do with romance. Even though for some reason I still watch Ouran High School Host Club. I think it was
I haven't
just
seen Ouran High School Host Club. That's another big thing that I haven't seen. Yeah,
I think it was
or
just
Fruits
because
Basket.
at the time. Oh yeah, I haven't seen Fruit Basket either, but I guess
The
at that
remake or the
time when I was
original?
getting into anime, like Ouran was just like it's a must see anime. I'm like, well, I guess I'll see it.
Okay. No, I was weird. I think maybe I was at the right time going through puberty or whatever. Like I was like kind of obsessed with rom-coms. Like I saw this Rosario Vampire. Like literally I would go to whatever anime streaming illegal streaming site it was and like literally just go for like I would click the tags romance comedy or just romance and like go through no romance comedy. I wanted comedy because like yeah, I was like I think I tried a straight up romance and I was bored. I'm like nothing much is happening, just talking. Yeah,
I
and so I
see.
was like constantly trying to like fish out shows and stuff. I've grown past that now, but like yeah, Golden Time was in that zone. Yeah, like 2013. Again, it's like in that honeymoon phase of like watching anime. Uh, Next is like completely kind of different, kind of not. It is
Right.
Shimoneta. It has a really long name. Just gonna call it Shimoneta. For those who don't know, this is a anime where Japan has gone overboard with censorship to the point where you cannot swear. People have like these rings around their neck where like in their hands, so they can't like draw lewd things, or they can't like make hand motions that are very lewd, or they can't even say things that are very lewd. And this girl who's like completely against censorship rises up and is like trying to spread pornography and lewdness everywhere to combat the extra censorship and seeing it as like a very like negative thing. It is completely hilarious, really good rebuttal against the idea of over censorship that can happen in society, and then also like it has a probably the best yandere that has ever been. I would say even above Gasai. So like again, like I love yanderes. I don't know why. I know it's like you hate sundares, but you like yanderes. Yes, I know. Yanderes at least are honest with their feelings, man. Too honest, but like yeah. And so I really do love the show. I so badly wanted a season 2 because it ends on a cliffhanger. I was almost willing to like check out the light novel for it because I do want to check out the light novel for Konosuba, but it's not been translated into either like illegal scans or official. Nothing.
Oh
Like
wow,
it's just like
really?
yeah, nothing in it. I don't think it has a manga either, and if it does, it's probably not translated fully either. Like it's just one of those shows that unfortunately has like it came and went, and like people have like forgotten it. It's been like lost in the shuffle, lost to time. It's one of
Yeah,
those
when
that
I
like
saw it in your list, I'm like, oh, that takes me back. That was another one of those
yeah,
shows that I watched as it was coming out with that friend, and we messaged each other, being like, "Yo, did you see this?"
yeah. So many dirty jokes in this show. So much like just fun. Like just again, really funny show, man. Like my god, like really crass humor. Like I miss it. I wish there was more because I really enjoyed this show and I really wanted more. I wanted to like explore these characters more, this idea more of like friendship and like a lewd terrorist. Like she literally has like white sheet and panties on her face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are essentially just pervert terrorists.
But they're doing it for like for a reason, like to combat the censorship that's there. They're like again one of the greatest like yanderes that has ever lived. That like not lived like a real person created. My bad.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
I
did
want it to be
a
real.
Kaneko Buster, so that's pretty.
Yeah. They nearly killed a man. Yes. So yeah.
Relationship goals: find someone that loves you so much they'll put you in a Kaneko Buster.
Next is something that I think like everybody knows. Both me and Shaheen have a version of this on our list. It's Lupin the Third. Me particularly Part Five. I really like Part Five. I don't know why this gets hated a lot. Like
Yeah,
it
because
really
like
is.
I remember when it was coming out, everyone loved it, and it's like one of those things where it's like as soon as it ended, people started coming out of the woodwork, being like, "This season actually sucked, and here's why." And I'm like, "Oh, I remember liking it because the year it came out, I think it was like my favorite anime of that year. Like, what was it, like 2018? That was like anime of the year for me. I remember being really salty that the Crunchyroll Awards had nothing for Lupin. I'm like, no best boy, no best girl, no best anime. I'm like, no best opening. I was getting pissed off. Fuck.
Yeah. So like it's like the first storyline where they're in France and it's about Lupin's like arch rival who we still don't know much about. It's like they've kept it in the dark. And then and they've like hinted at the past. And then you've got the storyline in India with the tech company, or like their version of India with the tech company and the new civilization versus the old civilization. Like all that was pretty good stuff. The action, obviously, it's Lupin, it's top notch. Then you had like why am I forgetting names today? The one with the sword.
Goemon?
Goemon, that's the one. Thank you. Goemon's fight with Lupin and him like questioning, like, am I better than Lupin? Am I not? I never really actually fought with him. The cliffhanger at the end, which Shaheen had to wait 2 years for. I had to wait like a few months because part 6 was going to come out soon when I started watching part 5. I didn't wait that long. But again, they never really expanded on the lore. That's a Lupin problem where they like give lore, but they don't like explain it, or they don't dive deep into it.
It's like one of those things where it's just like, do I really want it / need it? But at the same time, you keep on poking me with it. So either commit or don't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, for those who don't know, there's a cliffhanger at the end where Lupin apparently reveals his real face, quote unquote. And it's like, we don't see it. Only, oh my god, I keep forgetting names. Fujiko, yes. Fujiko Mine.
She's the only one who's a real Lupin fan.
I don't know. It's been a long day, okay?
No worries.
Fujiko's the only one who sees it, but again, we don't know what that means. Like, has he been wearing a mask this whole time? Is it a joke? Is it like something else? Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know what it is exactly.
Right. After reading the Lupin Classic Collection, I think it was Volume 2, there is a chapter that essentially Lupin reveals that, the face you're seeing is not his real face, and not even Jigen, of all people, knows what his actual face looks like. You still don't see it in the manga. But Lupin's like one of those weird series where it's very iconic and it keeps on getting a lot of these adaptations, but I don't think we've had like a proper full-on manga adaptation. I don't think we ever will, because there's some parts of the original Lupin manga that would not fly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lupin was
I also think like the anime is kind of I mean, like, I think it's like it's taken a life of its own, kind of, the anime. So it's like,
right.
So it's like, like when there literally are, I think most Lupin fans are only anime-only fans. I think very few Lupin fans today are actually like Monkey Punch, like manga fans.
That's true. I mean, I've been meaning to get back and read the manga. I've only been not even up to date, just the classic collections, which are really weird because it's just a bunch of hand-picked chapters that we get.
Yeah.
But some of them kind of annoy me because they're like, here's this character that seems like he's reoccurring, but he only pops up in one chapter. And I'm like, that character like barely even shows up. Because in the classics collections too, there's like Lupin is constantly having this beef with like the Rat Clan. We're constantly like sending assassins after Lupin, and they get like a reference, I think, every now and then in Lupin, but through that classic collection, through that like handful of hand-picked chapters, they seem like they're pretty like relevant, but that never shows up in the anime. There's also this character named like Melon Cop who seems like he was after Lupin and I guess got in the way of Zenigata for a couple of
Oh, okay. I was wondering, like, was it like before Zenigata was ever created? Like, there was Melon Cop or something, or
no? Zenigata was around. I think he was a more lethal cop that was after Lupin.
Oh, okay. I mean, I've seen movies where they've done that. Like, Zenigata gets replaced by somebody else who's going to really take care of Lupin. But,
well, as long as Lupin's gone, there's like a couple ideas that keep on getting reused. Like, I know you haven't seen that many Lupin movies, but there's a lot of times where it's like Goemon's like, I need to cut this thing, but I can't. I'm not good enough. Let me go train and like conveniently be away from the movie because Goemon's broken and could solve most of the issues going on in an episode or movie. Then he comes back and like, I'm finally good enough to cut this thing, and then the movie pretty much solves itself.
Yeah, but so that's my representation of Lupin. I mean, it is like I do my part 5 is my favorite of all the parts I've seen. I've only seen like part 1, 4, 5, 6, various OVAs and movies. I can't really like name all of them right now, but like yeah, that's my Lupin representation. Next one is also a representation pick, but also like a genuine like in this franchise that is my favorite out of all of them. It is Gundam Thunderbolt. I love Gundam. I have seen the original trilogy. I've seen Zeta, Double Zeta, various other franchises. I do love Gundam, and like Thunderbolt is just amazing. It made me fall in love with jazz. I didn't really care for jazz, but after this, I'm like, I need to check out jazz as like a music genre. Like, yeah. And for those who've seen Thunderbolt, you'll understand like why beautiful action, beautiful music, just breathtaking music, and like the way it works within the show, like the themes of the show, like oh my god, and the war, and like the way the soldiers are. Like I mean, again, it's Gundam. It's like how war is horrible and it like just takes a toll on you. But like I mean, it's done in such a stylish, slick way because like man, when Sunrise puts money into Gundam OVAs, they put money. Like I like if you want if you want Sakugo on crack like this Gundam Origin, a unicorn like I mean it's like top tier like animation like yeah, so like this is my Gundam pick, but it's also like if you're never gonna experience Gundam, like if you're gonna experience one thing, just one thing from Gundam, it would like in my opinion Thunderbolt would be like the one you have to choose. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember upon your recommendation, I went to go check it out because at the time, I think we were getting into Gundam around the same time, or at least you were a bit further ahead than I was.
Yeah.
Because I watched the original anime, I watched the whole thing for that. And
you watched the show, I watched the movie trilogy. Yeah.
Right. Which I need to watch the movie trilogy because it's been a while. I want to check out Zeta, but I'm like, I don't remember too much from the original, so I might just use the movies to kind of quickly catch me up.
Yeah, for me, the movies were always so like this is how you're supposed to watch it because like it moves all the crappy parts from this. Although I've heard some things that but it misses out these special things from the series. But I'm like, so it's like I don't know. It's like I think a pro and con with both. And stuff. And obviously, like the movies fix a lot of like animation errors and stuff. So it's really up to you. Like at this point, like I think either way is evaluated.
Mecha Elitist Online prefer it when you watch the original anime, so that's what I did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got points with them now. Sure. I got brownie points with them now. No, it's because I remember at that time it was I watched Gundam, then I watched 2 OVAs, War in the Pocket and MS Team, and then I watched Thunderbolt. Which, that's quite the jump in animation. I went from the original 70s, then I went to, like, the OVAs, and then I went to, I guess Thunderbolt's also technically an OVA, but then that, I'm like, wow, geez, Gundam looks good all the time.
because you've got, like, the original show, which is, like, I mean, the animation's, like, it's off its time. And then...
I mean, I don't know, I like older animation. I still think original Gundam still looks pretty good, especially for the time it was. I think it looked pretty good.
And then you've got like you got Born in the Pocket, which is also very good, one of the best OVAs Gundam's ever made, which is like 80s I believe. And then you've got MST, which is like pure 90s. And then you've got like and then you got this was like 2015, which is like you got like 3 different eras, 4 different eras, my bad, of animation of Gundam.
It's pretty intense. And then after that, I hadn't touched Gundam for like a while until like G-Witch came out. But I need to get back into
it. God, okay.
I don't know, my experience with Gundam is weird because my first ever Gundam was G Gundam, which is like.
I mean, to be fair, I think a lot. I mean, for a certain generation, Gundam Wing was their first Gundam.
Right, because of like Toonami and all that.
Yeah, Toonami, and stuff. Yeah. So that's my Gundam pick. That's my Gundam representation. Next is a movie pick. It's my favorite Ghibli movie of all time, or Ghibli movie of all time, Ponyo. I love this movie. I cry when I watch this movie. Any movies about like taking care. I've realized like any movie that's about like taking care of pets or like taking care of an animal, I'm going to like bawl my eyes out. There's like a cat anime movie that made me cry. This also made me cry, and I love the animation in this. I love the story in this. Ponyo is so adorable. So this is my favorite Ghibli movie of all time. please watch it. It is delightful. It's going to uplift you. It's going to make you believe there's happiness in the world, even though there isn't.
Okay. that, that was way darker than that. Just sucker punched me out of nowhere. Because I'm just looking at like Ponyo's cute face, and you're like, there is no happiness in this world. Like, what the fuck?
When you look at Pontius, you will believe there is happiness, even though there is.
But I know, but like, I'm just going based off like the experience of me looking, and then you just being like, yeah, there. I'm like, oh.
So yeah, like
Ponyo's one of my favorite Ghibli movies too. So I'm actually really glad to see that on your list because I don't know. I've talked to some anime fans, and they're like, yeah, Ponyo sucks. I'm like, no.
What are these? Okay, your anime club needs like I don't know lobotomy. Like what is?
No, I don't even think they were like anime club people. I think it was just people I met online. Like, no, Ponyo.
Oh,
it's no Princess Mononoke, which I'm like, yeah, I really like Princess Mononoke too, but.
I like Nausicaa, I like Mononoke, I like Howl's Moving Castle. Those are all great. I mean, like it's very. I mean, it's Ghibli, so it's like it's like you're gonna hit something golden somewhere, like But like I don't know, like Ponyo just spoke to me like on a level that those other movies did not, and like yeah, so that's what it is. When I need to rewatch. I've only seen it once, but yeah, this is one of those like this and Black Lagoon. Even after
I've
I think
seen
years
it a few times, yeah.
Yeah, even after years and years of anime watching, I think these two would still be on this list. Next is a pick that like I'm pretty sure is going to surprise maybe a good chunk of you is Diamond No Ace or Ace of Diamond. It is a baseball anime. It made me fall in love with baseball. It's really, I mean, it's a sports anime. So you go through all of the shonen things. You got awesome close tight knit matches that make your palms sweat. You've got messages of like improvement and adversity and leveling up and like friendship and senpais and like obviously with baseball itself like learning how to play baseball and how to like defeat your opponent and like the difficulties that come with the sport itself and explaining it like I think like manga splaining has a term like explainer manga. This is like an explainer anime for baseball, but it has all of those themes that come with your standard sports anime, which I mean like most sports anime if you look at Mel are like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 because like it's like they do have a certain formula and like yeah, this follows that formula to a T and it like works and I do love it. It made me fall in love with baseball. I'm following baseball because of Ace of Diamond. It made me fall in love with the sport. Haikyuu also made me like volleyball, but again, like volleyball unfortunately doesn't have like a league like the MLB to follow, but like thankfully baseball does in the West. So yeah, like Diamond No Ace is my final pick, and that's like my top 10 done for anime. I do want to check out others, either manga or anime about baseball, like Cross Game or One Outs and stuff. So there are others I will check. But yeah, but Diamond No Ace. If you're looking for something to give it that Haikyuu feel, Diamond No Ace is definitely like up there. Like it'll like what Haikyuu did for or volleyball, I guess. Like you can get the same feeling from Diamond No Ace for baseball. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is it also called Ace of Diamonds, or is that something else?
No, Diamond No Ace is the Japanese, and then Ace of Diamond is the English. Like,
oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
okay. I just wanted to make sure of that. But I remember when it was coming out, I was going to watch it, but like, it's baseball, which maybe for me more so because I'm an American boy. That's America's pastime, which is weird because I feel American football is like way more popular than baseball. But anyways, baseball, America's pastime. Yeah. When I was younger, okay, this is probably where I had my aversion to sports because I used to be an indoor kid. I would draw and play video games all day, and my parents were like, "You gotta get into some kind of sport." So they tried to get me into every sport. I did soccer. I did basketball. I did baseball. I did martial arts. Martial arts I stuck with a bit, but everything else I hated, especially baseball, because baseball I'm like, I suck at it. I'm not even that good at it. And also, I think it's kind of boring as a kid. So
yeah. No, I don't. Even if you think of what's boring now, I can understand. It's one of those sports where it's like, It's difficult. It takes a bit of time. It's like not a it's not a speedy sport where things are constantly happening. There's a lot of like waiting and stuff. But I don't know. I like that. I mean, look, I grew up on cricket, so it's like baseball's like the next closest equivalent. So it's like it has all of those same elements of like wait, start, stop again, and all of that stuff, and like moving the ball to defeat the batter, manipulating the ball to defeat the batter.
So dramatic.
I mean, that's how like the show makes it feel. Like,
it's just like to defeat him in combat. Yeah, no. I think also on top of being forced to play baseball, I went to a Dodgers game with my aunt one time.
Oh.
I wasn't anticipating it to be so long. I remember being miserable. I'm like, I don't
know
hours, how the game.
Right? Yeah.
I think I was like 7. I'm like, I don't really know how the game works.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I could remember is the snacks I got. I got a frozen lemonade and
hot dog.
Those are those are the main 2 things I remember. That took a whole day for me. I'm like, man, that frozen lemonade slapped. But besides that. But I don't know. I'll probably get it because when we get into my list, because I have like a sports series on there. Actually, technically, I have
you have 2. Yeah, you have 2 sports series. Yeah, I forgot.
Exactly.
I always because you don't like the, I guess, modern sports series. Although one of them is modern, but like it's like.
Well, see, I just gotta give it a chance because it's not like I've given them a chance. Just like how I was younger, I didn't give romance a chance, and it's only until recently I've given like romance a little bit more of a chance. I need to go back to sports because there's a lot of classic sports series I also want to give a chance. And then also as a shonen hype fan, sports are kind of like the progenitor of that.
True. Yes.
So I guess I gotta give it more of a chance.
Like I said, baseball, like cross game, rookies, 1-outs are like things I want to try. Then there's like, others. There's like the bike medal one, Yumanoshi no Pedal, something like that. Then you got Blue Lock is like really like hot right now, and then you've got also like what was it? There's another soccer one, Giant Killing, Slam Dunk, obviously real. I want to check out these Kuroko no Basket. Like these are all like sports I still want to check out. The only 2 I've had is like Ace of Diamond and Haikyuu so far, but I enjoyed both thoroughly. So yeah, those were like great experiences.
I did watch a bit of the reboot Captain Tsubasa.
Right.
I think it went on break. I fell off, and then I think just recently they came out with like another season because they took a long time to get back to that. But,
oh god! Okay.
And I did enjoy it. I remember I tried bringing it to my anime club. I think most of them saw some stuff on Spacetoon because I guess it was dubbed in Arabic. I forgot the name for it in Arabic. It was like Captain Majid or something like that. I think it started with an
L. Okay.
But it was pretty popular over there. Some of them are like, oh, I've seen it on Spacetoon. I don't want to see the remake. I'm like, oh, okay. It's new to me. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll switch over to my list now. Let's compare taste in the comments. see who has the superior taste. But starting off my list now, I know of Hamza's there wasn't an exact in order of favorites.
Yeah.
For mine, I feel like the top 3 for both my anime and manga list, the top 3 are pretty much set in stone for the most part. The rest could be interchanged around. But first off, we have Fooly Cooly, 6-episode OVA, probably one of the more important animes to me. I've mentioned it plenty of times on the channel. It's something I watch practically every year. It's like a tradition, which, it's made easy since it's just 6 episodes. It was a little bit more special when I was going to school because I kind of used it to get me ready for the new school year or semester. I'll binge it the day before. And after completing it, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this new school year or whatever. Since then, it's been a bit harder. Now I try timing it around New Year's. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for the new year, the actual new year. But it's one of those shows I remember when I was getting into anime. At that time, it was like, oh, this is the weirdest show ever. Oh, it doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. What were they thinking? What were they smoking when making this? And as someone that liked weirder things, that attracted me to it. But at the time, I didn't really understand it. And it kind of bothered me because I'm like, I really wanted to like it. So I gave it some time. I came back to it a year later. I watched it again. and I understood a little bit more of it. And I've noticed as time goes on, like every time I rewatch the series, I still get a little bit out of it. I'll get a reference, I'll understand a character's motivations, I'll look at a thing a new way to like perceive it. It's really good. Also, the soundtrack by The Pillows, it's amazing. There's times where the series just becomes like the world's greatest AMV. Episode 5 is probably like my favorite episode of anime ever. It's just some of the most badass animation put to screen. It's amazing stuff. I cannot forgive those sequels. I think I heard one of them was good, but like Fully Cooley is such like a like lightning in a bottle concept. I don't know what was with the attempt to make more of it. Especially like Grunge, I think was this like shitty looking CG series.
Oh,
like that just feels like a slap in the face. I mean, it's kind of cool to get some more Pillows music out of it, but they also still reuse something from like the original Fully Cooley. I don't know why they did it, but Fully Cooley will always be like a very special series to me.
Yeah,
but
I haven't seen it. It is on my bucket list. Again, it's like 6 episodes only, but like, yeah, I really can't say much to it. But like, again, like the only thing that I think that hesitates for me is the fact that, oh my God, it's super weird. It's like you won't understand it. It takes a while. That's what hesitates me about it.
I say that when I watched it, I was like in middle school, practically. And also, like, I feel we've both seen much weirder. It's honestly not that weird. It's probably like tip of the iceberg. Like, yeah, there's weird things. Like, this alien girl comes out of nowhere, bashes the main character in the head, and then a robot pops out. But we live in a day and age where we see a guy with a fucking chainsaw come out of his head. It's okay. It's not that bad.
All right. You've convinced me. I'll check it out at some point. Yes, definitely.
Do what I do. Wait for like the new year to come. I'm like, all right, December 31st. I'm watching this bitch. But then moving on, I got the original Lupin the Third series, the 70s one. It's what got me started with my love for Lupin, which is one of my favorite anime franchises. And part 1 just always holds a special place in my heart. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the music and soundtrack. Lupin, as time went on, I love Yuji Ono's music, but I feel like it's way too played out. Ever since part 2, we keep on using Yuji Ono's music. Where the Lupin theme has remix upon like the remixes have remixes. That's how much we've been using this guy's music, and I'm kind of tired of it. Like part 3 has its own opening too, but what made part 1 so good is just like that whole aesthetic with its music. You got like the little like Lupin. Like, the soundtrack is orgasming to the main character. When you do that, you got like, you got like a 10 out of 10 series.
I was like very surprised to see part 1 on there. I like modern Lupin, I guess, more. Although, granted, I haven't seen part 2 or part 3. But yeah, part 1 was nice. I just watched it as like an introduction to Lupin, so I can get the characters and everything. Yeah.
See, part 1, I like the whole, because like Lupin, at least in the first 8 episodes, I forgot the name of the original director before Miyazaki and Takahata took over.
Yeah.
Because like it was deemed too dark, but I kind of like that. Like, Lupin killed people. It was a little more sinister, but still like a fun, likable guy. I just really like that tone for Lupin, where it balances being really goofy, but also kind of like, because at the end of the day, he's a criminal mastermind. He's not going to be like a goofy little guy. Because that's my problem with part 2. Too many episodes, Lupin's just a Looney Tune character.
Right.
And sometimes that could work because, there's like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny's a pretty, slick guy sometimes. But then there's other times where he's just Daffy Duck. And I'm like, how are you the number 1 criminal in the world? Like, how does that work? And also, like, part 2 goes all over the place. You'll have a serious heist one episode, and the next episode they're meeting, like, Bigfoot and Jesus's twin sister, who's a vampire. So, I've slowly made my way through part 2. It's something I'll probably watch like 10 episodes a year. I'm like slowly picking at there's some episodes I enjoy. There's other episodes that are just whatever. But like part 1, I think it was like the perfect length. It was I like the episodicness of it because I feel like modern Lupin hasn't mastered how to do a proper story arc. I think part 5 was the best of Modern Lupin with the story arc thing, because like part 4 was a bit messy with it. Part 6 just wasn't that interesting.
True. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, part 6 was a disappointment. We were so hyped for it, me and Shaheen, but like, yeah, no, it did not live up to expectations. My favorite episode of part 1, though, is, I mean, I think it's rated as the best episode, but it's like, I mean, it makes sense. It's the one where he gets captured by Zenigata, and then he like, Zenigata thinks he's gonna escape, but then like he just slowly, just over time, like takes his time and then breaks out, and then like makes it like at the worst time for Zenigata, he breaks out just to like stick it to him even more. Like, oh, that episode was really, really good.
I mean, the episode was so good they remade it for part 4.
Yeah, when he was stuck in the in that blocks, right, in the like out in the island, like in the ocean or something like that. Remember in part 4?
Yeah, they essentially remade it because it's just that good of a fucking episode. But I don't know. I feel like part 1, like, it's pretty much all bangers for me. I've rewatched it like 3 times, and it actually finally has a dub for it. It was like one of the few Lupin. Well, I guess part 3 never got a full on dub, but part 1. Even though it's kind of weird because it's like the modern dub voice actors, so it's kind of weird seeing like a 70s series and they have like pretty clean audio for the voice actors. It's very jarring. But also, I just love the original Lupin voice cast. Most of them, unfortunately, have sort of aged out of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think all of them have, unfortunately. Jigen, I think, was like the last to go recently with like part 6.
Yes. Yeah, the episode dedicated to like saying goodbye to the voice actor via Jigen. Yeah.
But the new voice actor, he's also a really great guy, and he does a great job as Jigen. Like, after like the first couple episodes, I feel like it really melted into my brain. I'm like, yeah, this is Jigen.
Yeah, same. Like, I was like able to like switch over. Like, it was jarring at first, because I'm like, oh, that's a different voice. Jigen doesn't sound like that. But then like, after a while, once you get used to it, you're like, okay, this is Jigen. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they got the best possible guy to be the replacement.
True.
But then
so we both have Lupin on both of our lists. Yeah.
Yes, we got a bit of Lupin. I'm a Green Jacket fan. Even though part 5 made me like Blue Jacket, even though it pisses me off. Okay, I'm going on a little tangent rant here. All right, because it pisses me off to this day. What made Lupin awesome before part 5 was that every part had a different jacket color. So it was a neat way to like shorthand reference a season of Lupin. You know, instead of saying part 1, you could just say green jacket or red jacket, pink jacket. And with part 4 case, blue jacket. And then part 5 strolls along, he's still wearing a blue jacket. And it pissed me off. I'm like, no, you have to change the jacket color. And they did, and then they do part 6, and he goes back to wearing green. I'm like, no, nothing is sacred. So now I am forced to refer to parts of Lupin by, you know, like part number, like it's fucking JoJo, and I don't want to do it. The jacket thing was cool. Anyways, a little mini rant. It still pisses me off, but at least because like
and then when you had the super serious OVAs, he had a black jacket. He had like an all black outfit with a gold tie, which like looked really cool.
See, I remember thinking part 5 was going to have a black jacket because Jigen's gravestone came out before part 5.
Oh,
and Jigen's gravestone, he's wearing a blue jacket. So I thought like the Kazuo Koike movies, or not Kazuo Koike. Why do we keep forgetting his name? That director, he did Red Line, something Koike. Takeshi Koike?
I'm not good.
Whatever, those like serious Lupin specials, OVAs, movies, whatever they're technically allocated to. I thought those were going to like kind of be like secretly like, okay, this is like a sneak peek on Lupin's jacket, but they're not. Also, we're due for another one. Like, it's been a while since like Fujiko's Lies, even though Fujiko's Lies wasn't really that good, but I'm still waiting for them to finish whatever that storyline was they had going for that.
Yeah.
But moving on with my list, we have Ping Pong the animation. I was going to say one of my favorite sports animes, but like I haven't really seen that many sports. But what I like about Ping Pong Actually, I don't want to say that. I was going to say what I like about ping pong is it's not just about ping pong; it's about sports as a whole. But like, I'm afraid that's like the equivalent of being like, what makes this mecha so good is it doesn't focus on the mechs. So I'm going to retract that statement before it ages poorly. But I love Yuasa Masaki. He's one of my favorite directors, and to me personally, this is probably one of my favorite works of his. A lot of people hate it. I love the animation for it. That whole sequence where the characters are doing karaoke on Christmas, one of my favorite anime moments of all time. Overall, just fantastic series, great music, great characters. Makes me want to play ping pong, even though I really fucking suck at ping pong. But it's just an overall great time. And it's 11 episodes, so it's really easy on the rewatch. I rewatch it subbed, I rewatch it dubbed. I kind of go back and forth every time I decide to rewatch it. But probably need to get to the manga at some point.
Yeah, for me, this is also on my list of like sports animes to watch. As someone who's played table tennis, who's been like on and off on it, unfortunately, I do want to get back into it. I recently bought a racket to like get back into it. I am super interested because it's a sport I've actually played. You know, with baseball, I've somewhat played it. I've played softball and cricket, but like with table tennis, I'm like I could probably relate to like what these characters are going through, and like trying to. Isn't it like explanatory? Like it tries to explain table tennis, or no?
Not really, which is why I was saying it's kind of like with ping pong, it's kind of the essence of sportsmanship because there's a lot of characters that play ping pong for different reasons. You know, one of them just plays it for fun. Another one plays it for like fame and glory. Another one plays it because like that's all he knows, essentially. So you get like all different aspects of why people dedicate themselves to sports.
To sports, right. Yeah, so like it is definitely on my list. I can't wait to like both read the manga and watch the show. And like, yeah, I mean, like to be fair, like all sports, I guess, you know, have that to an extent. But like this one, I think the difference is that it explores it to its like, you know, peak, like it's still doing it to its extreme. Whereas other sports are like, oh yeah, but like you have to explain the sport as well. But this one sounds like it like it's purely about the motives of the characters and what sport can and will be for like mean to a person.
Right. With ping pong, I don't really feel like I'm coming out. I necessarily know the entirety of a sport. Whereas, like, you know, more sports series, it's like, okay, I came out learning something about this sport. Like, I didn't know about these facts and rules or methods of training.
Yeah, see, I knew nothing about volleyball before Haikyuu, and like now I know. Like now when I watch a match, I'm like, no, I'm like, oh, they're doing the thing, they're doing that thing. Oh, this position is doing this position is doing that. Oh, he's using that technique to like get the point. Like, yeah. I mean, that's like most sports series, but yeah, like I said, this one is going to be different, which is going to be interesting to see. When it's just like purely about the commentary around sport rather than the sport itself, which is what most sports anime are. It's like yeah, it's both because like you can't like really deny like you know you can't like do a sports story without talking about what that sport means, but like it's also like we got to explain why that sport is cool.
Yeah, it's a really good one, and then next up I got like another sports series, but this one's a classic. The one and only Ashita no Joe, which is you know, probably one of the most iconic animes ever made. Even if you haven't seen Ashita no Joe, you have seen it referenced in like a variety of ways. It's I almost feel like next to the Akira bike slide, it's probably one of the most referenced anime sequences or series. It's and there's like multiple things. Like Gurren Lagann is like chock full of Ashita no Joe references. There's one major one, but there's like a couple more, and like I think that's what brought like Imaishi and Nakashima together. Their love of Ashita no Joe. That's what kind of like helped them make Gurren Lagann. So very deep rooted history, a fantastic boxing story of you know a guy that's just trying to find his way to tomorrow. Joe Yabuki. He's the GOAT. He's a fucking asshole, but man, does this guy box. Like, it's a great series of a very troubled kid just kind of live life through boxing. I mean, he gets into boxing out of pure spite because he finds a rival in Juvie, and he's like, I need to beat that guy. Oh, he likes boxing? Time to learn boxing. I gotta beat his ass. Probably also, hands down, probably one of the greatest anime rivalries ever. Joe Yabuki, Rikishi, like the number one. You cannot beat that rivalry. Goku and Vegeta, get out of here.
Yeah, again, this is a big one on my list. I have to one day one day experience Ashita no Joe. I believe the manga is coming out. It's got licensed,
Oh yeah, the manga
Uh,
is coming out, which I can't wait to see because I know the anime has some differences. I've seen people say the anime is a bit better.
Oh, okay.
Due
That's
to
very
like,
rare. Well,
well, because the anime was also directed by like Osamu Dezaki, who's probably like one of the most iconic anime directors out there. So I'm pretty sure
okay.
his direction kind of helped with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I am curious to see how the manga plays out because the mangaka for Ashina no Joe, he's also very iconic, but unfortunately for a lot of like English speaking anime and manga fans, we don't have that much exposure to his work. Because not only did he make Ashina no Joe, he also did like Tiger Mask and Star of the Giants, which is like, I'm not sure if it was the first baseball manga, but it's like one of the most iconic baseball manga.
Okay.
He's sort of like the sports manga like king. He has a handful of just like iconic sports series that really influenced Japanese pop culture as a whole. I think of like boxing and wrestling and baseball, like through his works, made those respective sports popular. Which is funny because that seems like it's reoccurring in Japan. Like I know of like Slam Dunk, baseball became really. I mean, not baseball, basketball became really popular in Japan.
Yeah.
So it's funny how that works out.
Haikyuu made volleyball really popular for a while in Japan as well, or maybe still is. I don't know. But yeah. How would you? Because like this, looking at it reminds me a lot of Rocky. So like, is there like a comparison you can make between the two?
It's funny because like sometimes like the alternate titles for Shinono Joe is Rocky Joe.
Or Tomorrow Joe. That's what I've seen. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
Tomorrow's Joe is essentially the actual title because like Ashita no Joe basically translates to Tomorrow's Joe. I think we'll have more in common with like earlier Rocky, before it kind of like jumped shark and became really over the top. I mean, it has some over the top elements. Like there's like a fight later where he goes against like this wild man for whatever reason, who's just like wailing on him. But for the most part, it's a pretty serious series. Like what I think it has more in common with Rocky is it really follows like not just a boxing story. It's like a big drama with like the character and his like his supporting cast. He has his coach. Yeah, he has a relationship with that's pretty rocky. No pun intended there, or maybe.
Okay.
Who knows where I was cooking with that one. It's definitely a series I want to rewatch again because I don't know. There's just something about like 70s anime aesthetic. I know everyone on Twitter is always like, yeah, the 90s anime aesthetic, but to me, it's like 70s through 80s. To me, that's like the sweet spot of anime aesthetic. With 70s, I just kind of like how like dirty it is.
Yeah. I get that a bit from like, especially. I mean, Gundam is the only 70s one I've seen. Gundam and Lupin are the only 70s one I've seen myself. But I get what you're saying, like how raw it feels because we can never get back to the back. Like, because now we've gotten so advanced with animation we can never go back. But again, there's something just really raw about like just like the idea that like, oh, you just have to draw it like multiple times and like just put it all together and like make the animation cell. Like, yeah.
It's just there's just something really special with it. And then with Ashita no Joe, I think like most of the voice actors, I think their only roles were those characters. They didn't really do anything else. So it also kind of feels like a one of a kind. But
I'm surprised it's not on any like streaming. Like it's not on Crunchyroll. I don't think Prime has it.
I think the movie for part 2 is on like one of the streaming services. I still don't know why we don't have the full series. I don't know what licensing hell that's going on with.
Yeah.
Also, I apologize. One of my birds is been singing, but
yeah,
which is good. It means he's happy. I'm surprised because he normally doesn't sing at night. It's like 7 p.m. when we're recording this my time, so I'm kind of surprised. So he must be really happy with the vegetables I chopped for him before this podcast started. So I guess that's just his way of telling me that. But at least he sings good. He could be annoying like my other bird and just scream. So, yeah. But we'll move on from Shino no Joe and we'll go to I think this is like my most modern favorite, which is Mob Psycho 100.
The other series by one Like that's literally the name. One.
Yes. To me, I'm not sure if it's a hot take or not, but I prefer Mob Psycho over One Punch Man. I feel like Mob Psycho is more of a fully formed story, whereas One Punch Man is kind of like the joke that just later on became a whole story as it kept on going. And also, like, One's actual heart, I think, was more towards Mob than One Punch Man. I believe at the time, One Punch Man was just something he did on the side, and it was just coming out for free, whereas Mob was like something that he was getting paid for, and we have like the volumes for it and everything. That were, I think Dark Horse released the original manga.
Yeah, Dark Horse is releasing.
So he had more of his heart in Mob Psycho, but I love this series. The anime, because I read the manga too. I actually read the manga before the anime, but obviously the anime, Studio Bones really gave it their all. Fantastic animation, great voice acting, both in the sub and dub. But I just really like the story of like this meek, almighty psychic that just does not care about his superpowers. He just wants to improve himself, because in his mind is just like, well, yeah, if anyone had superpowers, it'd be awesome. But like, I want to be awesome through like my own actual natural ability, which I think that's like, it's a good message. I think to have, because everyone always dreams about these superpowers, but they don't really think of like improving themselves. And then Mob is just like, I have a list of anime characters I would adopt as a child, and like Mob's one of them.
Okay,
he's probably the oldest one on that list. Other characters would include Boji from Ranking of the Kings, and then Gamamon from Digimon Ghost Game. They could all be my sons. They'd be like my little Falcon Punch Robins.
Little punchers.
Yeah, they're my little they're my sweet cheese, my Ron soldiers, my good time boys. But it's fantastic. We got 3 awesome seasons. That's it. Full story, complete package.
It's done. Like,
yeah, it's 3 done. Season 3. Yeah, season 3 came out like
I thought it was still ongoing. Okay, I gotta binge this now. God damn.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's fantastic. 3 seasons. That's it. Just awesome. I love Mob. Oh, also Reagan. Reagan is a fantastic character. For a while he was like, I think he was the #1 Tumblr sexy man or whatever that whole thing was for it. But yeah, Reagan for a while was like one of my favorite characters. I'm like, this guy, he fucking sucks, but I love him.
Yeah, for me, my hesitation was the art. Like, I mean, the animation was fine because, like, I mean, Bones, like, does some incredible things with it. But like, when I saw the manga, I was like, where's the, one's art style's like pretty, I don't know. But then you told me like it actually works for what he's trying to do. And then so it's
it
like,
improves over time. Like, and that's the thing I love about One. Like, I think One's probably one of the most inspirational artists out there.
Yeah.
Because his art style is getting better. And when he draws like a ghost in his art style, it actually becomes slightly freakier just because of like the slightly amateurish nature. So when he goes for like a really detailed like monster, you're like, oh, that actually looks creepier than it should. But beyond that, it's inspirational because, I mean, I used to be really into art. Not so much anymore. I haven't really drawn anything seriously. But yeah, he's just a really inspirational artist because you see him essentially just do chicken scratches, and it's nowhere near the best. Like, he's not the art style you're gonna be seeing on like Jump or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know. There's some Jump series that have very like stilted art styles. Where I'm like, how did you get here? But anyways, let's not get into that because that's a whole different conversation. But he has improved, even though I think he has another new series going on right now. It's like a fantasy series, but I think he has like a different artist that is doing that, which I think is probably best for him. That way he could get more people to read his series. But I think he's a fantastic storyteller. One Punch Man, Mob Psycho are really unique stories that kind of like take certain concepts and like flip it on their head. I think he's like one of the more interesting mangaka that I think he doesn't really get that much credit for because his original work, it doesn't really have that many eyes on it. They more look forward to either adaptations or redraws. So I think him going with a different artist rather than just doing it himself is kind of a smart move. even though I really do appreciate like the self-improvement aspect of his art, which also goes in line with like the kind of the core message of Mob Psycho and like self-improvement.
Got it. Yeah. So like, so Mob Psycho, it was coming out, but like again, it was one of those things where it's like I'll binge it when it's done. So now it's done. I was because like the manga is still coming out via Dark Horse at least. So I thought that like, and it's just like I think like 12, 7, 15, whatever, it's how many volumes? It's like in the tens. So I thought like, oh, there's gonna be like a season 4, season 5. Like, okay, well, like wait, but like now I'm talking like, oh no, 3 seasons that like covered everything. So like, yeah, I really wanted to check out this series, and see like how one would handle something different. Because again, my only exposure to one is One Punch Man, and stuff. Say that 10 times fast. But like, yeah, I am curious to see like how would he handle other things, especially like this. But like, yeah, like it is on my list again. It's one of those things where like I have to experience it, and like, yeah, I think pretty soon. Like this, I plan to watch like maybe within next week. I'll probably like watch this. Yeah.
All right. I look forward to hearing about that. Also, season 2, there's like a couple fight scenes where I know you as an action person are going to love, because probably one of the coolest psychic battles I've ever seen in like anything happened in like season 2. Some crazy shit. I won't spoil it because I really want to hear your opinions on it once you come across that. But
got it.
Still to this day, I'll sometimes look up that fight on YouTube. I'm like, fucking cooking with this one. But
yeah.
Next up, we got another Bone series that I really like. That's also fairly modern, being Space Dandy. Fucking love Space Dandy. Those even though I was initially disappointed by it, I remember like episode 1 came out. I'm like, really? This is Space Dandy? I think my main problem with it in the beginning is because the way it was being marketed, it's like, oh, Space Dandy's this cool, like, space guy going out in space and just doing the coolest things you could imagine. So I thought it was going to be like a modern day Space Adventure Cobra, which I was really into at the time.
Oh.
And then it comes out and it's just like this kind of like horny guy in space that guy just kind of gets into misadventures, and he's kind of a dumbass. And almost anything he does that's cool is by accident. So that first episode, I'm like, what? But as the series went on, I really started appreciating it, especially since like some episodes would have other directors come on board and give their own like unique twist to an episode, because it was kind of episodic with a bit of a story that came in later towards the end. Of course, my boy Yuasa Masaki had an episode, so I was really happy about that. But I just love the sci-fi nature of it. Because I mainly got into it because I think he produced it. He didn't direct it, but it was produced by now I'm forgetting his name. Shinichiro Watanabe, the director of like Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo. So his name was attached to it.
Yeah, so this one when this was getting like marketed and advertised, people were like from the makers of Cowboy Bebop, and people were like, oh my god, they're coming back like to make a new anime that's going to be like have that Cowboy Bebop flavor. I don't know if it succeeded or not, but this is definitely again on my list to watch. Like,
you haven't seen Space Dandy?
No, I haven't seen Space Dandy.
Bro, what
it's
the fuck?
It's everywhere. It's on every single like streaming service imaginable. But again, I don't know why. For some reason, it's always like I want to watch it, but then I don't know. I guess I prioritize something else, or something happens in life and I can't. But like, it is again definitely on my list of like I have to get to this at some point before I die. Space Dandy is one of those like ones.
Okay, after Mob Psycho, follow it up with like Space Dandy.
Space Dandy, yeah.
We gotta put you on a regimen with these. Like, oh my god, I could have sworn I talked to you about it, or maybe it was a different friend.
No, we never talked about it. Never.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this one also has an anime club story.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was. Oh, dude, it's probably one of the most disappointing things. So, I was really excited to show my club Space Dandy. I'm like, yo, this is one of my favorite modern anime. Like, let's go. So I boot up the first episode. I brought both the sub and the dub. My club hated dubs, but I'm like, no, all dubs are not bad. Stop it. You know, give them a chance, because like Space Dandy has a really good dub in my opinion. So I downloaded both versions. I was going to try out the dub, but as soon as like my club caught wind that it was dub, like, oh my god, turn this shit off. I'm like, I haven't even heard the characters properly speak. Jesus. So then I switch over to the sub, but the sub for some reason and I downloaded everything from Kisame at the time, put it on a USB, and brought it to the club. For some reason, the sub version glitched out. I don't know why.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, we have to go with the dub. Mind you, I don't, because Space Dandy was episodic, I probably, to give them a better first impression, I probably could have put in a different episode. The first episode of Space Dandy is kind of weird because it starts off of like Dandy and his like robot sidekick QT just talking about boobies, which is space hooters in this world that Dandy loves going to. And so they're just talking about like boobs and butts for like 5 minutes. And of course we have some anime club members being like, really? This is your favorite anime? I'm like, give it some time. And then a couple of people are like, all right, I'm done with this. And I'm like, oh man, if you just gave it like 5 more minutes, it was going to turn into peak. And they made it, they booed me, they made me turn it off, and then I think we just watched fucking like a Kami got killed or something.
Oh god. See, the place to, but oh, okay.
I know, I felt like I was about to turn into the Joker right there.
Oh man.
Again, I love my anime club, but they fucked me up a couple times.
Okay, I'm not gonna have that reaction. That just sounds funny to me, like just a 5-minute conversation about boobs and butts, and it's like you don't have the context for it exactly.
I mean, I've heard plenty of people having that. Like, I remember stories of like, yeah, my parents watched anime with me sometimes, and they loved Cowboy Bebop, so I couldn't wait to watch Space Dandy. And they're like sitting down with the Adult Swim premiere and be like, "What is this?"
Oh right. So like yeah, like because it's now like because we just talking about Shimonetta, it's just giving me like a bit of Shimonetta vibes with the crass humor and stuff. So like yeah, like I really do. It's again, it's on my list. It's on like almost every streaming service. I don't know why it's like everywhere. It's like yeah, and stuff. So like yeah, it is definitely like something I have to check out. Something that's all I can say. But like yeah, it went out at the time. It was advertised as like the new Cowboy Bebop. Because like that's how the marketing works for things now, I guess.
Exactly. So like everyone had that specific like vision in mind. Like, oh, this is going to be like a really cool and deep anime. When in reality, it's just a bunch of like sci-fi wackiness.
Yeah,
that's great, fantastic. I mean, hot take. I preferred way more than Cowboy Bebop, but
oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple people tell me I'm wrong, but I'm like, that's just your opinion, man. But moving on, we got Riding Bean, which is an OVA, like 1 episode OVA. This is like if you know me long enough, I will put on this anime for you, or at least I'll highly recommend you to watch it. I've had so many friends come over to my house for like a sleepover or something, or like spend the night, and you know, it'd be like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, yo, you know what we should watch right now? Riding Bean. I'm like, what the fuck? That sounds so stupid. I'm like, no, trust me. It's the coolest shit ever. They watch it, they're like, oh my god, that's the coolest shit ever. I'm like, right? So yeah, I've shown this to countless people. I've shown it to my club. I've showed it to like any friend that's come over to my house. I pop that. It's either that or Mad Bull 34. Mad Bull 34 kind of depends on everyone's mood, considering that, you know, Mad Bull 34 is basically an anime exploitation film.
Yeah.
Whereas Riding Bean is basically an 80s action movie condensed to 45 minutes. It's a lean, mean, kick-ass machine. So many great moments in like that amount of time. Fucking love Bean Bandit. For the longest time, he was like one of my favorite anime characters. It's just so badass, man.
Yeah, so you introduced me Gunsmith Cats first, so I read Gunsmith Cats first before I watched Riding Bean, and I was very confused because like the main character, the lady is different. Like she's like blonde in this, but in the manga she's like dark skinned, like maybe of Indian descent,
right?
And stuff. But like yeah, like this was again a very cool anime. Riding Bean in the manga and in the OVA is really cool. He might be super powerful because he's like mixed race or something.
I know
like
that's the author's explanation, because Riding Bean and Gunsmith Cats, it's a somewhat realistic world. I mean, they do some crazy stuff. It's like an 80s action movie, but imagine like all the normal people, and then all of a sudden, like this superhuman comes out of nowhere. That's being banned. He gets run over by cars. He could flip them over with his bare hands. He doesn't use guns himself. He just used like throwing knives and just pure raw strength. He's been shot in the head. He's caught like a missile in midair and like thrown it back. It's just it's like watching like Die Hard, and all of a sudden like Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator came out of nowhere and just like fucked everyone up. That's essentially being banned.
Yeah, so like I have seen, and this is really cool. Like again, along with Black Lagoon, if you're looking for anime action, Black Lagoon, Riding Bean, there's probably other stuff we haven't mentioned yet, but like these two are like must-haves on your like top 10 list. Like I've only seen it once, so I can't like vividly remember moments like you can. But like I mean, the car chase was like really really cool, and then like I think he like smashes a door or like uses a door as a shield if I remember correctly or something.
Yeah, which is with his bare hands, he rips open the car door.
The door, yeah.
And this was right after getting run over. Actually, no, he didn't. He got run over later, but he football tackles a car coming at him at full speed. Dude's an animal, and it's apparently because the author's whole reason he's like, oh yeah, he's of mixed race, so he's strong. I'm of mixed race. I'm not flipping over cars, so I need to know what is he half saying? Like I don't know.
Yeah, but like that's like a really weird way to make the anti-racism message. He's like, oh yeah, he's strong because he's like mixed race. It's like, you know, races are like getting together. I'm like, okay, that's one way to do it, I guess.
You heard it here, folks. If you want to produce a powerful child, get with someone of a different race.
Yeah.
But yeah, then after Riding Bean, I have another anime where if you know me long enough, I will put it in front of you, which is Mazen Kaiser SKL.
Hell yeah.
Which, looking back at it, I'm like, damn, this is the only like Go Nagai related anime I have on my list. But Mazen Kaiser the original Mazen Kaiser OVA is also kick-ass, but there's just something special about SKL. SKL is like the most metal, hardcore mecha series you can get. 2-in-1 Mazen Kaiser. One has a gigantic-ass sword. The other one has guns. And they just, just goes to town on this island that's having a war with a bunch of mechs. It's just a good time from beginning throughout. We also get like a Devilman lady robot towards the end. An awesome opening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was awesome hardcore like metal opening, yes.
It's a hardcore metal anime. When you think of like hardcore metal, that's Mazen Kaiser SKL, in anime form. It's heavy metal in anime form. Well, I guess technically, okay, not heavy metal like you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, this is a bit difficult to talk about because like it's just action. It's literally like non-stop action, 3 episodes. And so it's like, and it's just cool stuff happening one after the other. Not a lot of substance, but like, oh my god, the style is like through the roof. And like, yeah, it's only 3 episodes. If you like cool mechs, you like cool action, you like giant swords, you like giant guns, I think they had like sexy ladies as well.
Oh yeah, they do.
Ahead.
It's like one of the factions on that island that's like fighting all robots. Women. Yeah, it's all beautiful women.
Yeah,
it's Go Nagai, so you're going to see beautiful, most likely naked women because that's how he operates, baby. But Mazen Kaiser, awesome. Also, it's like part of that story that I've mentioned a few times on the podcast with like that one guy that was a friend of mine that's just like, wow, this is so good. That first episode was so amazing. I don't need to watch the rest of it.
Which again, I say that was his kind way of saying like he doesn't care.
But he wasn't that type of person, so I don't know why he just randomly decided to be nice for that one part, like that one occasion. But I mean, to be honest, though, the first episode I think is like the best episode of Mazen Kaiser. That the scene where because like Mazen Kaiser is like it's piloted by 2 people. And each guy pilots like a different version of Mazen Kaiser. So when the sword guy switched over with the gun guy like the first time, and then like it just does some gun fu.
Yeah.
I think about that scene like almost every other day. Still. Like a giant robot doing gun fu is like the fucking coolest thing ever.
especially after like we live in a post John Wick world. Like, come on, like. But like, I'm surprised we never got like more. Like, we never got a full series. We never got like
there is a
more.
manga, but it's not translated in English yet. And I'm really curious how that manga is. I'm not sure if the manga came out first. It's like one of those series that if you go on a manga website, it says Go Nagai made it, but he technically didn't. It's like someone's just using his idea and someone else wrote and draw it. I'm not sure how much actual involvement Nagai has in it, but
right.
Yeah, Go Nagai is one of those mangaka that like I've read quite a bit of his work, but there's still so much out there that I have not read. And even then there's also a lot of others of works based off his series, but I'm not sure how much actual creative control he had over them. But a lot of them seem to always like respect Go Nagai because you have things like Devilman G, Devilman vs. Hades, a bunch of Mazinger spin-offs like Mazinger Girls and Mazinger Otome, or was it Mazinger Angels? Yeah. Oh yeah, Shin Mazinger Zero, which is like also probably one of the most heavy metal manga to ever exist.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. Again, Writing Bean, Mazen Kaiser SKL. Chances are, if we're having like a bros night, those are one of the animes I'll put up.
Right, these are the most like dude bro shows you could ever.
Like I said, maybe depending on the atmosphere, if we're in like a really vulgar mood, I'd be like, all right, Mad Bull 34. Even though I don't like I do enjoy Mad Bull 34, maybe not as much as these two. But with Mad Bull 34, it's like there's some good scenes in the other episodes, but I think the first episode's like the best one. Like that one, honestly, I'm like, you could just watch the first episode for the OVA. The manga's good though. The manga's really good, even though it's not fully translated in English. But again, keep in mind, it is a very explicit series. It is an exploitation film in anime and manga form. So be warned if you're deciding to check out that series based off my recommendation. But if you are an action fan that can handle it, definitely go ahead. It still blows my mind that it's Kazuo Koike doing it. The same man that made Lone Wolf and Cub, Samurai Executioner, Crying Freeman might blend those lines.
Freeman has a lot of crazy stuff in it. Yeah.
But one of the more iconic mangaka just made like... Well, I guess technically with Go Nagai, he did do Hanapa Bazooka, which is fucking wild. But anyways, continuing on with my anime list, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Now, this one surprised me when I was thinking of my top 10. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I watched fully like 2 years ago. But like when I was like reflecting on my list, because with manga, like my manga list is pretty solid. Like it's easy for me to come up with a top 10. Anime, I feel like it's changing. Like I'm pretty sure if you come at me like 2 years from now, this list is like 5 of these series are going to be like mixed and matched or like replaced.
Yeah.
So I forgot what originally was in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX's spot. But I'm like, I don't really think about this series that much. But you know what series I think about every now and then? Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So it took its spot. And I think GX is a fantastic follow-up to the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 2-3 years ago, I finally decided to give the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga a shot. And I just fell in love with it. It became like one of my favorite things ever. Spoilers from my manga list. But even though I'm not that invested to the actual card game, I fucking love the manga. It's just a great series full of creativity and friendship. Amazing. So GX was an amazing follow-up to that. It goes in some crazy directions because the first 70 episodes are kind of like goofy fun. And then the arcs after that just become like almost soul-crushingly depressing and dark. And I'm like, what happened? Why is this character committing genocide? Oh my god, what the fuck? What happened to when he just dueled a monkey?
Yeah, so my journey with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was very different. So when I came to Canada, I was looking for ways to like make friends and like, meet nerds. So I decided to get into card games, and one of those card games was Yu-Gi-Oh! So I came it through the game first, right? And obviously game in like 20, 21, 22, 23, like that version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has like changed obviously over time. And stuff. So like, yeah, so when Shaheen was telling me stuff about the anime show. And I'm like, that doesn't happen in the game, though. But it's like, yeah, but it happens on the show. I'm like, okay, fine. And like some of the stuff he's told me is insane. I'm like, okay, all right. Like, so yeah, I haven't experienced Yu-Gi-Oh as a story yet. I have experienced it as a game, but again, it's like definitely on my list of like when I try. But again, it's like one of those things like with this Digimon, Pokemon, it's like it's a lot because like all of them are like long running series with like multiple like iterations and stuff. So it's gonna take time. But like yeah, like it is definitely on my list to see just for the cool monster designs alone. Because like I mean, if you anybody's played Yu-Gi-Oh or seen Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, they have really really cool designs. Cyber dragons, anyone? Uh,
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
something that happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
GX, yeah, you
Also,
told me
I
that.
think
Like
I've
when
told
I,
you some of the over the top things that happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Like, there's a whole like Shaolin monk temple, but just dedicated to like Yu-Gi-Oh!
drawing, yeah,
cards.
yeah. So like I remember when I got my starter deck, like it was a Cyber Dragon starter deck, and he's like, "Oh, that's from GX. Like this character's from GX. Like he has Cyber Dragon. He's all about Cyber Dragons." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So like yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh is. I don't know how I want to see all of it. I don't know if I will ever, but like yeah, it is like definitely something I want to experience. And like I already experienced technically through the game, but like yeah, not the anime. So you got both flavors. You got the game and the anime with this podcast. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. Your story about like trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! In Canada just feels like it's ripe for like a slice of life comedy anime. It's like I just moved to a new place. I want to make friends. Goes to a card store. It's like you meet like a bunch of like a wild, quirky cast of characters, and they teach you about the game. You just hang
Yeah.
out and not really
And then
learn
you
anything about the game.
and then you like cry because like you lose all the time and you're spending so much money. Like I had to bow out of it, unfortunately, but like I did enjoy my time. And I still play Master Duel like occasionally. So I definitely enjoy the game. I definitely have an appreciation now for card games and stuff. But like, yeah, it's not I would say an easy. If you're tight on money, it's not easy.
Right. I mean, see,
Yeah.
I think that kind of benefits me. I just care about the anime because, like, sometimes when the anime will go like really in depth of the cards, my brain kind of would glaze over. I'm like,
Oh,
cool
really?
monster,
Oh.
bro. Uh, even though, like, I've heard the Yu-Gi-Oh animes, even like, there's a lot of hardcore Yu-Gi-Oh fans that just hate the anime. He's like, that's not how the fucking game works. And I'm like, well, yeah, narratively, it makes sense for it to happen. Do you not know how the story works, jackass? But yeah, so GX is I'm just constantly thinking about it. Even though I watched it sub because like the sub has the full story, the dub never fully completed it, which I guess makes sense considering where Yu-Gi-Oh! GX goes on as it continues. I don't know how 4Kids would dub its way around some of the subject matter. Okay, I'm making it sound like it's a super bleak series. For what it is, it's super bleak, but it's not like I don't want to hype it up too much. Where it's like, oh my god, how did they get away with this? But for whatever reason, the dub opening always plays in my head, which is wild because I think as a kid, I only watched one episode of GX, and that's where the main character meets like the Neo-Spatians. That's it. Like that's the only episode I watched. But for some reason, like I'll be in the shower, I'm like, game on, gotta get your game on. I don't know why. That being said, the Japanese version of UGX, some fantastic openings. My favorites being like the first and final opening. Those two bangers. Occasionally, those always go into like my gym music rotation every now and then. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then capping off my anime list, we have Trigun. Trigun is one of those weird animes where I think if I were to see how many times I've adjusted my top 10, has gone on and off multiple times.
Oh, okay.
But it always comes back. Again, it's an anime I always come back to. I've rewatched it a few times. I really like Vash the Stampede. In fact, if you're a true OG of this channel, Vash was actually my my profile picture for like quite a while until I'm like, I should probably get like a Captain Falcon image. It just makes sense branding wise. But I think first of all, Vash, cool as hell. Original Vash, not this fuckboy Stampede Vash. Even though I do appreciate elements of Stampede, cannot get behind that design. I'm like, that's not my Vash.
Yeah, I have a very weird relationship with Trigun. I do love it now. I do recognize it for being an amazing series, but I first wanted to get into Trigun in uni, and when I first got into it, I hated it. Because I wanted a badass show with a badass character. And yeah, like Vash becomes that, but like especially at the beginning, Vash is an idiot. Gets in trouble, doesn't it constantly like his gun like is never working and stuff. So like it was like really annoying me. Like this is a goofy character. I want like a badass like character. I don't know why. That was the show I was looking for. And Trigun, at least from like artwork and like promotional images and stuff, look like, oh god, it's such a cool character, probably a badass like like Helsing, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. But so then I abandoned it after like I guess like 7, 8 episodes, and then I decided to revisit it, and then like ended up loving it because like now I was like dealing with it on Trigun's terms of like, and the message it was sending about pacifism and like and violence and like also like the Western setting and like the episodic nature of it and how he's like just like going through these towns and stuff and like, oh my god, and like Vash as a character is really really awesome. And like, oh my god, some of the heartbreak like the other characters go through, they call him the Punisher in Stampede, but I forgot his name. Wolf,
Yeah,
what was it? Wolfwood, yes. Like, oh my god, his journey. It is. I want to read the manga, but I've heard really bad things about the action. It's like very hard to follow.
Yeah, like
and
the
stuff. So like
the mangaka, great artist. I think his action's a bit messy. Like it's really hard to read.
Right. So like yeah, like that's what, because like I mean it doesn't, the Trigun anime unfortunately is not a complete story. It's like ends kind of on a cliffhanger, and they kind of only hint at Vash's origins on what he really is. I'm not gonna spoil it here, but like yeah, like the manga obviously goes through it in detail and stuff. So that's why I wanted to do it. Maybe I'll check it out one day, maybe not. But like yeah, Trigun is definitely one of the greats. And like yeah, don't expect it to be like a badass like, oh, the Vash is gonna like just kill people left and right with his like dual pistols and stuff. But like no, it's about a guy who's like just trying to live life and like trying to be a pacifist because of his beliefs, but like isn't in such a violent world. Really, sort of like Vinland Saga in a way, but like completely different approach. Where like Vinland Saga is very serious and super super violent. Trigun is more on the comedic Western hijinks like kind of side. Yeah.
Also, I completely forgot to mention it, but like, listen, in real life, I wouldn't want to actually touch a gun. They kind of scare me. But at the end of the day, man, I'm an American. Guns are fucking cool in fiction, man. Holy shit. Some of the coolest guns ever are in Trigun. Wolfwood's whole, like, cross is, like, the coolest, most badass idea ever. It's a cross machine gun that's also a rocket launcher that has a bunch of pistols inside of it. Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, the evolution. First, you're like, he brings it out, it's like, oh, it's just like, it just has a bunch of pistols. Then it's like, oh, it's a rocket launcher. Oh, then it's a machine gun. And then you realize he's a priest. Like, oh my god, like it is. So just like the evolution of it, and then his backstory. Like, oh my god, Wolfwood really, like, that episode made me cry. Like,
oh yeah.
God. So yeah, like, also like the movie Badlands Rumble, really good. Really, really good. And like interesting message in that movie as well about like the nature of violence and stuff like that. And he had a really awesome, like very interesting message at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but do check out the show and the movie Badlands Rumble.
Yeah, see, like Trigun, I've probably rewatched 4 times. I might do it again, especially with Stampede. Since Trigun's like one of those series that just most likely won't get a proper full-on adaptation, because like Stampede right from the beginning just changes a bunch of things, which I guess in a way is pretty refreshing to see like a new take on it, even though some of these aspects of Stampede, some of them I'm not sure how to feel about it. Others came more as the series went on. I'm like, oh, okay, now I kind of get why some of these differences were created in the first place. Even though I was worried for the longest time that we just got that one season and they weren't going to make any more. But I think in this Anime Expo, I mean, it's probably over by the time this episode comes out, but there's going to be some news for like season 2 of Stampede. So that has me excited. It also makes me want to go back and rewatch OG Trigun, just because that's like one of my earlier animes. It's like, it's not like the very first, but it's definitely within like the first 10 anime I was watching. That was one of them.
Oh, right.
Originally watched it all on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Dark Horse actually right now is releasing like deluxe editions of like.
Oh yeah, they
like
are.
Big...
But I just hate the way they look.
What do you mean?
Have you seen the way those deluxe editions look for Trigun? They're like piss yellow.
They're red with yellow like lettering.
Oh, did they change it? Because originally when they released it, it was just piss yellow with the gun on the.
No. It's red with, and each one has a different like weapon on it.
Okay, let me check. They definitely changed it then, because I remember. Okay, thank God.
Okay, yeah. I was like, well,
no, because if you Google it, you'll see like the original where it's like piss yellow. You could barely see the gun, and then Trigun's in blue.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm glad they made it red. Because I remember some people were being like, "Oh, it's not going to be red because Hellsing's in red." I'm like, okay, so do they all have to be different colors for these deluxe editions? Because I think Vinland Saga, the deluxe edition's red.
I don't know what the Vinland Saga deluxe editions are, but like, yeah, like I don't see why that's a problem. I think the Hellsing ones are black, aren't they? Or no? No, they are red.
Black.
Berserk is black. Hellsing is red with black lettering. That's the yeah.
Right. Because I don't know why you make it yellow. Because when those initial, cause I'm like, yeah, he has yellow hair, but I think Vash is more iconic for his red jacket.
Yeah. When I think of Trigun, I think red mostly. I mean, the yellow is a part of it, but like I get mostly red. I mean, that's his like large hole, like that's his coat.
Exactly. Like these new ones are red with yellow lettering. I'm like, okay, that's the way they go about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that. I don't know. I remember when I first saw that. I was like, maybe I should buy the deluxe editions. And then I saw that cover. I'm like, I don't want that piss yellow on my bookshelf. I'll stick to buying the Berserk deluxe editions.
Yeah, they're going to release Vagabond deluxe editions as well, by the way.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Viz announced they're going to release. I forgot they're naming it something else, but it's like they're basically just deluxe editions that Dark Horse is doing with Berserk, Hellsing, and Vinland Saga.
I'm glad that's taking off.
Yeah,
because I feel like manga needs more of that.
More big ass, like oversized deluxe editions.
I just want more hardcovers, man. I'm a little slut when it comes to a hardcover.
Oh God.
All right, but so yeah, those are our top 10 favorite animes. Originally, we were going to do move on to like top 10 manga and characters, but as usual, we just like talking a lot. We don't get that much time because we record a bit late at night for the two of us, so we'll probably save manga for another day. But in the comment section down below, tell us who has the better taste, or if we just both have shit taste.
I mean, to be fair, mine is probably people are going to be like, "What the fuck did you?"
I mean, I definitely admit there's a couple surprises where see, I don't know. I say surprises. Some of them I get it because I know you've either talked about it to me in the past, or stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't know. It's both surprising and not necessarily that surprising to me. I guess also it's a little bit more surprising since half of it we were coming up with before the podcast started. In your case,
true.
But taste is ever evolving. Like I said, my top 3 is probably that's locked in. I don't really see those changing anytime soon. I mean, at least with Lupin, if part 7 is the greatest thing ever, I don't know, maybe. Part 5 actually used to be in part 1's case, but then I think I rewatched part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't smoke, but like watching an episode of Part 1 feels like the way a movie makes smoking feel like. If that makes any sense. After every time, I'm like, yeah, real fucking anime. They don't make them like this anymore, baby.
Oh god, Shane's turned into a boomer. Okay, a boomer anime fan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just made me want to like huff on a cigar and go, yeah, real fucking animation.
People drew this. No computers involved at all.
The soundtrack kept on saying Lupin's name. More soundtracks need to do that. But yeah, we'll leave it off here. Falcon Punchers, as always, keep on punching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.